Hello and welcome to Generational Wellbeing with Dr. Bloom. Thank you for joining me today. So, I have been talking a lot about picky eating, and I'll start today with a story about my kid. My daughter, when she was younger, if she did not like any food I was offering her, will gag to the point where she threw up. And as long as I was paying attention and responding to that behavior, she will gag every time she did not like anything. So, as parents, it's difficult when you see your kid gagging and vomiting, but sometimes paying attention and really rewarding that behavior and gagging and vomiting may be inhibiting your progress while you are trying to get your loved ones or your young ones to eat and try new foods. So today I will talk about certain things that we may be doing knowingly or unknowingly where we think we're doing to help our kids' picky eating behavior, but those things may be really inhibiting our progress when it comes to getting them to eat new foods or eat the foods that are good for them. So thank you for joining me. Let's dive right in. So, what's the first thing that we may be doing? The first thing is really rewarding. Be careful of what behaviors you're rewarding. Like I explained with the case of my daughter, as long as I focused and rewarded that behavior, she continued to gag, making it very difficult to have her try any new foods or even try any different textures and stuff. But as time went on and I knew she was fine, obviously you want to make sure there's no medical condition that may be causing the gagging, because there's some kids who really need medical help. They may need purees and other things like that. So of course you want to make sure that they're medically stable and they're okay to eat. Once you're sure that the gagging is a behavior rather than a medical condition, or there may be kids who have just very hyper, like really good gag reflexes where they can throw up with anything. But once you're sure everything is clear, then you can start like slowly introducing foods without paying attention to the behaviors, because then when we focus on that and they get all that attention, it is rewarding. Anytime they need attention from you, then they will gag and throw up. They get the reward, the attention, that's what they have. So in order to stop that behavior, whether it's coming to eating or any other times when they need attention, she went ahead from just gagging with foods to gagging again whenever she was upset or there was some change she didn't like. She would just get upset, make herself cry, gag, and vomit. So what do you do with that? Once I figured out she was okay, I had to stop rewarding that behavior. So every time she gagged, there was no response from me. I will help her, I will clean it up, and I'll say, "You're okay." And then I will not give her the attention. Eventually, she was not getting rewarded for the behavior and she stopped gagging. So even with introducing new foods now, I'll make sure it's something she tolerates. I won't force her to eat it, but I'll have it in there. Now I'm not rewarding the gagging or anything, so she's not getting anything from that, and she stopped gagging with eating new foods. So pay attention to what behaviors you may be rewarding. Make sure your kid is safe, healthy, and there's no medical issue that needs to be addressed. And if it's a healthy kid without any medical issues, stop paying attention and rewarding the behaviors. Now, what's the second thing we do, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, that may be inhibiting our progress when it comes to introducing foods to our kids? Second thing is labels. I hear all the time when we have parents, of course, we're parents, we love talking about our kids. We talk about them all the time. But sometimes when we put those labels on them, we're like, "Oh, my kid is a picky eater. They don't like this food or that food. They don't eat greens and stuff." And even in clinic, when I'm talking to families and parents, they'll say that in front of their kids. I watch the kids. But guess what? Our kids live up to those labels. Once we've labeled them as picky eating or picky eaters, and we've talked about their picky eating, whether it's at the doctor's office or whether it's at with our friends and families, and we are kind of reinforcing and giving them that label to live up to. So it's like, well, they start accepting and acknowledging that, well, I'm a picky eater. Of course, I'm not gonna like that. Or I'm a picky eater. I don't eat green beans, or I don't eat peas, or I don't eat that. So they will live up to those labels. So we can start by, instead of labeling my kid as a picky eater, like putting the label picky eater, we can say, well, we're still working on it. He has not tried that, or we're working through this process, and we're going to reward or start labeling them. They are healthy eaters. We eat healthy, right? We eat our greens. So we're starting to restructure or reframe and relabel them like they're great eaters. You're a chomper. You eat great and stuff. Again, giving them those new labels, that way they can live up to it, because like it or not, once they listen to it, the way they process it like, well, I guess I am a picky eater. And next time you give them, they're just living up to what you're calling them. So start by changing the way those labels that we're giving our kids. Instead of picky, we're working through it. So we're not labeling them as picky eaters, but we're cruisers. We're getting there. And every time we introduce something new, even if it's smelling it, playing with it, licking it, whatever, we're rewarding that. Well, not rewarding, we praise them for trying. We encourage them, because we all need that reward, that positive reinforcement when we're doing anything. If you're doing something long enough without any kind of reward for it, you in essence stop doing it, because there's nothing that comes with it. Just like I said earlier, the first point, where we're rewarding certain behaviors that would reinforce it, we want to stop rewarding certain behaviors we want to get them away from, and start rewarding those behaviors that we want them to consistently get into. So second thing is, let's stop the labels. Labeling them as picky eaters is detrimental to our progress when we're trying to feed our kids. And finally, the third thing is giving them choices, or not giving them choices. Sometimes as parents, we just want to put that one foot, this is what you got to eat it and stuff. But understanding that, especially in the toddler phase, they're at the stage where they're trying to be independent. They want to make certain choices. They want to be in control. It's mine. I want to do this. So we want to give them some level of control, of course, within structure, but have them where you can eat your carrots or your green beans. That way they can make the choice. And once they make that choice, you can have a bite, but I'm not going to control how many bites you have to take. I'm not going to say you have to eat at least 2 bites, and you're not going to take clean up your plate, or you have to finish up or clean up your plate and stuff like that. So we want to provide the structure, we want to provide the healthy options within the household, and we want to give them a choice of A or B. Now, the mistake we make sometimes is that we bring the things into the house that we don't want them to eat. So if you know your kid loves snacking all day, bringing a whole bag of wholesale food snacks and putting in front of the kid and expecting them to make the right choice is not feasible. Even as adults, sometimes it's hard. It's easy for you to sit there with that thing that you like so much and just eat it all in one sitting. So the first thing is making sure the choices that are available within the household are choices that you're okay with your child eating. And once you bring those choices, you can present A or B. That way they have a part, and they're able to play their own part of making choices, because as life goes on, that's part of life. We make choices every day. We might as well start teaching them how to make the right choices each day. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you, as always, thank you for listening. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I am Dr. Loam.